Well, praise the Lord. This is Bishop Edgar L. Van, and this is your wonderful Wednesday in the Word from the Second Ebenezer Church in the beautiful, wonderful city of Detroit, Michigan. I'm Bishop Edgar Van, and I'm grateful that you have connected with us today. I want to really welcome you to this Bible study. I want you to get excited, get your pens and pencils and devices ready to take some good notes tonight. I'm going into a new series on relationships. And so I need you right now to get ready, sharing, tagging, starting watch parties, if you will, on Facebook Live, if you will, commenting, hearts and likes means so much to us. Helps me to understand later on just how you've engaged and connected with us. So we want you to get ready. We're going to be dealing with some principles that deal with an aspect of relationships. I'm going to be in a series for a while on it, and I certainly want you to engage with us. We're just coming out of our forgiveness series, and what a powerful, powerful series that was. And we're going to be doing the same thing with relationships. I'm going to bring First Lady in on one of our Wednesday nights. We're going to be talking about marriages. And so I want to make sure that you are connected to us. And we want you to stay connected to the Second Ebenezer Church on Facebook, certainly in our e-campus, Ebenezer Everywhere. Follow us on Instagram, if you will. Follow us on YouTube, if you will. Just stay connected to us, and we know that God's going to do great and mighty things. I'd also recommend to each and every one of you that you would download the Second Ebenezer Church app, the Second Ebenezer app, either on Google or Android. You have an opportunity 24/7 to just refer to your phone and have the opportunity to connect to everything that is Second Ebenezer Detroit. And we want you to be able to do that at a moment's notice. The Bible studies, some of the notes are going to start being on there. We're going to do other kinds of things, very innovative things. And you'll have an opportunity to be on there and to understand just exactly what's going on. Well, I do want to give just a little bit of a shout toward an event that's coming up this month. Third Sunday of September is always National Back to Church Sunday. And this time it is, of course, online, but it's also, we're going to also have another drive-up service here at Second Ebenezer on September the 20th at 10 a.m. September 20th. Mark it down now. 10 a.m. We're going to come back to the lot, have another service on our throwback, what we're calling this year, throwback and flowback. It's going to be both. We're going to throw back online with going in the vault and in our archives to bring to you a wonderful old time type of a service and a lot of fun that we have with that. And God meets us in a mighty way when we do that once a year. And so we'll have the throwback online, we'll have the flow back. You'll be flowing back to the lot, or you can throw back at home. Either way, we have both experiences just for you. So follow our website, if you will. Download that app. I wish you would. Follow us, of course, in our Ebenezer Everywhere e-campus. And we'll be so glad that you did, and you'll be glad that you did. Well, listen, I want to start this relationship series, and I want to preface it with a few remarks. First of all, I want you to know that during this time, this COVID season that we've been in the last roughly 6 months here in America, here in Detroit, here in Michigan, Detroit being one of the hot spots originally of the COVID-19 pandemic. In these pandemic times, we've had a lot of time to think about relationships. We've had a lot of opportunity for relationships. Certainly, we have experienced people who are close to us more than usual. Some of us have not spent quite as much time with each other as we have during the pandemic because of work schedules, this, that, and the other, people working at home, whatever they're doing. Life has completely changed. And because it has, the pandemic has affected us in that we must now look inward to try to figure out the whole relationship enterprise. And so I'm really calling this series Relationship Recovery. I've had to do a lot of counseling. I'm just being honest with marriages, with family counseling, and other kinds of things that have really fallen off the table during the pandemic. And so relationships are very important. You remember that everything rises and falls on relationships. I need to say that again because I hope somebody gets this and shares it. Everything rises and falls on relationships. It's one of the most valuable things. I mean, money comes and goes. Things that you buy get old. The hairdo that you get yesterday is old today, whatever. But relationships, when resilient, are there to guide us, to keep us, to direct us, to comfort us, to strengthen us, to give us a sense of unity and camaraderie with those who are closest to us. And so I really want you today to be ever so mindful of what it means to have a true and a real relationship, because relationships are extremely important in your life. And so it's important for us to recover in relationships. We need a time of relationship recovery. There's a lot of brokenness. I've even heard about during this season, these last 6 months, marriages failing, friendships failing, a lot of other kinds of what I call situationships failing. People who are similarly situated and having camaraderie with one another. Schools and workplaces and other things have been temporarily suspended or postponed or reimagined or repositioned. Some of them will forever be the way that they are. There are certain people, especially in office situations, that may not go back to that office. They will always be working from home, or maybe there will be a hybrid situation. A lot of what we thought were relationships were really based on situational circumstances. I go to the barber shop with this guy. We meet we happen to come at the same time. Go to the beauty shop with this person, and you all happen to meet there at the same time, et cetera, et cetera. You see the same person in the store, or whatever it may be. And so it's important that relationships are intentional, and it is important that when relationships are strained and stretched, that we bring a sense of recovery to them. Now, we've got to go back in this, because when we look at some of the brokenness that happens in relationships and how we may have lost our sense of definition, and how we're going to have to regain that, especially as we move forward, not only in a pandemic, but through a pandemic, and ultimately at some point, and I don't know when, only God knows that. All the prognosticators and the super duper prophets that are out there, you didn't tell us about this one, so let's wait on God for the breakthrough that's going to come. It's important for us to understand that relationships can recover. You can rebuild a relationship, and you must know how to build strong and healthy relationships. These are very, very important. Again, everything rises, everything falls on relationships. The actuality is that none of us are really born that nice. You know, I don't mean to offend anybody tonight. I just want to basically start out letting you know that all of us really come into this world sort of innately selfish. It's our humanity. It's our flesh. Our flesh has a certain spirit of selfishness in us. We're sort of born that way. We're sort of born being territorial. We are sort of born in that way. We're all imperfect, and sometimes in relationships we will demand perfection in others that we cannot even produce ourselves. We're real hard on other people often in relationships and very easy on ourselves. And you know the old adage, right? You can dish it out, but you can't take it. We learn our social rules. We learn certain etiquettes. We learn certain pleasantries. And I know that some people are never taught, but it is most modeled to us, and we learn by the models that are before us. Whenever I dedicate babies, and those of you that know me know, I always give a charge to those families that are standing around, the cousins and the godparents, so to speak, and others who stand around the so-called village around the child. That does not absolve the parents of parental responsibility. It does say that there are others who have an opportunity to also bless and to model in the lives of that child. But I always let everybody know that, listen, we're so inextricably linked to one another, and God has created us that way, that these babies that we're dedicating are going to see the models. They're going to say what they hear you say. They're going to live similar to how they watch you live. They're going to do what they see you do. And so, therefore, it's so important for you to make sure that you're a good model. We got to have good models in relationships. And those kind of models are taught. I mean, I can remember going back to my earliest recollections and the fact that in my life and in the life of many of those who are viewing me right now, listen, we had to learn, we had to be taught, had to be modeled how to say thank you, how to say please, how to say no thank you. I mean, we were also taught not to accept everything, not to accept every piece of candy, not to accept every kindness or pleasantry. In many instances, when that took place, we had to ask our mother could we accept a piece of candy from someone or a piece of money from somebody else. We were modeled how to build that relationship with our parents and how to interact with others. We learned how to say you're welcome when someone told us thank you. We had to be taught, not to hit, not to spit, not to bite folks, not to slap folks, not to hit people. We had to be taught how not to use bad language. And when that language is modeled by a parent, then what happens is the child picks it up and you can't teach them anything. I mean, you can't tell them not to curse when you're cursing all the time. I mean, that old thing about do as I say and not as I do, that doesn't work. That hasn't worked for 30 years or beyond. And so it's important that we model that. We learn how to do that. We learn how to be nice. We learn how to communicate. We learn how to resolve conflict. We learn how to forgive. We learn how to negotiate. We learn how to give and how to receive. All of these things are really learned behaviors. They are things that we learn over time. They're things that are modeled before us that we pick up. We're taught. They are modeled to us, and those are literally people skills, good or bad. I'm not talking about spiritual gifts now. I'm not talking about your talents, your abilities. I'm not talking about how cute or how handsome or how fine you may be. I'm really talking about your people skills ratio. What kind of skills do you have? What kind of people skills do you employ when you look and when you see other people? That builds the foundation. And I'm building it in this teaching here. I want you to stay with me now. That builds us foundationally in terms of our relationships. Now, if what we need and what is modeled and what is taught to us as children as we grow into adults are really called people skills, then we understand that a skill is something that you can develop. A skill, is something that you can learn. A skill is something that can be shared. You can have a whole lot of things, but no real discipline in your life. And so your relationships are raggedy because you don't have the real discipline to be in a position to manage and to develop and to share in a relationship. And so it's very important. You never get to a place in this life where you don't need people. I don't care who you are. You can try to live without people, but everything that you want in life is connected to something or somebody. And the some things that you want have to be produced by somebody. You got to get the things you want from somebody. It takes skills in order to be able to do that. And I want to stress this because I want people to understand. I'm just giving the first foundational lesson in this series because I want you to know that your ability to identify, to form, to grow, to sustain healthy relationships is critical. If you don't learn that somehow, you'll always be in conflict with people. And people who are always in conflict with other people are normally people who end up in a lot of difficulty and in a lot of trouble. Success is about being connected to people. The greatest resource that we have is not money. It's not talent. It's not ability. I'm saying it to you again. It's relationships. And we owe it to God. We owe it to God to be able. He has commissioned us. He has told us that he wants us to be able to get along with one another. As much, the Bible says, as lieth within you, it says, seek to live peaceably with everybody. In other words, your spiritual obligation is to get along with others. You are mandated by God that you might be in a position to get along with other people. You didn't come here to remain in conflict with folks. Conflict is inevitable sometimes, but that is not the goal. The goal is not conflict. Now, you and I both know people that when you see them, you say, oh, Lord, here it comes. Here comes trouble. We know that there are some people that are just bent on conflict, confusion, misunderstanding, strife, division, separation, and the Bible even instructs us that these are folk that we really ought to try to avoid because they have not developed, again, people skills, good people skills and relationships. Now, that's very, very important. It's something I need each of you. And you need to write this down. I mean, write this down because I'm just giving the foundation here. I'm getting ready to turn the corner here and go a little bit deeper. But I really want to set forth this paradigm for you because I want you to understand that relationships are a people skill. They're not just a people skill; they're a life skill. So let's define it. Let's define it here. Let's have the conversation because relationships are categorized and compartmentalized. Part of the problem, that we have is that these days we call everybody a friend, and I want to deal with friendship in this first lesson. I want to deal with friendship because I think that this is really the entry point, the sort of foundational level for relationships. The foundational level for relationships is being able to manage a friendship. A lot of people run to a marriage who don't know how to be friends to each other. A lot of people run to intricate business relationships or business deals without understanding the fundamental skills of a relationship. And a lot of people rush into things and go into things very quickly, not understanding the foundational plank of relationships, which are friendships. Now, you've got to be able to categorize them. You've got to be able to understand them because everybody literally is not your friend. And I'm not talking about your enemies yet. I'm talking about everybody's not your friend. We have this loose definition, unfortunately. We're too flippant in terms of our definition. And so the first thing I need you to see about friendships, and I'm moving forward as fast as I can, because a lot of us, the problem that we have is that we don't know where to put people in our lives. Wow. We don't know where to place them. We don't know where to put them. So we sort of adopt everybody that we meet and talk to or say hello to 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden we're friends. Really? I want you to sharpen your definition of friendships because it's going to help you in the other levels of relationship that you have. Because if you don't understand what a true friend is, you're not in a position to reach the point of discernment that you really need in order for relationships in other levels of your life to be healthy. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. If you are a good friend, then you can be, hopefully, a good spouse. If you are a good friend, hopefully, you can be involved in a more personal relationship with someone else. But unless that foundation of friendship, when you talk to people who've been married a long time like me, the first thing that they will normally tell you is that the best thing, when people ask me, what's that secret? What's the secret? How you stay married over 40 years, etc. The whole crux of the matter is becoming one another's best friend. And you see, that gets very skewed these days because we rush often into physical intimacy without, first of all, being friends. Now, that's another lesson for another time. I'm going to bring First Lady in. We're going to talk about that a little bit down the road. But I need you to understand that unless you start at the beginning, you got to build a foundation for your skills and management of relationships, because it's very important. Everything, again, rises and falls on relationships. So today I want to talk about friendships. I'm talking about friendships because I think it's fundamental and foundational. I think that if you can be a good friend, it means a whole lot to a lot of people. I think that we get a lot of other things. We get, some people have cash-connected relationships where it is transactional. It is dependent on me doing something for you so that you can do something for me. It's dependent on me releasing a resource in anticipation of you releasing a resource. Those kinds of things. I think it's important, really, honestly, truthfully, for us to take a good hard look at our relationships to see whether or not they are just transactional relationships or are they really transformational relationships. There's a difference between the two. A transactional relationship, again, is almost like a barter system. It's based upon what I do for you, you do for me. Well, she didn't send me a card for my birthday, and I sent her a card for her birthday. Well, he didn't do such and such for me, and when his time came around, I did so and so and so and so. And sometimes relationships become ruptured, and I'm going to be talking about that probably next week. Relationships become ruptured because people have a transactional expectation in relationships. And so it's important that we understand what friendship is. Number one, here it is. Here it is. Friends get access. Wow. Friends get access. Again, we use the word friend too loosely. We use the word friend too generously. We use the word friend too flippantly. We give it to people oftentimes who have not earned it. We give the label and the expectation of friendship often to people that have not yet proven that they earn our friendship. And many times we have not proven to them that we deserve their friendship either. We give it to people that haven't earned it. We give it to people that haven't demonstrated any sense of loyalty. We give it to people that have not been with us enough and shared with us enough in order for us to even understand where do they stand with us. And so it's important for that. I'm not talking about now I'm not talking about loving one another. We have a biblical mandate to love one another. Okay? We don't have a biblical mandate to give full access to everybody that we come in contact with to ourselves. We don't have a right to full access in other people's lives. Those kind of people are known as busybodies and gossipers, and I think the Bible has a number of other names for it, and I think I might have a few to add. It's people. Some people can't help it. They want to be friends with somebody so that they can get into their business, so they can find out everything there is to know about them. And normally, when you see people like that, those are the kind of people that are very eager to tell other folks what they know about somebody because they've been hanging with them. I better say it right here. You better watch who you hanging with. Lord have mercy. Type that in if you want. You need to watch who you're hanging with. And you also need to watch who's hanging with you. It's important because if you don't ever get to a point where you are cognizant and aware of who's around you, who you're spending time with, who you're sharing information with, who you're sharing secrets with, whatever it may be, then you find yourself in trouble. You know what I found out? I know a whole lot of people will come through the years and say, Pastor, I'm so sick of people talking about me. I'm so sick of that. Every time I turn around, look like I was walking in a room and everybody's talking. Sometimes you're just paranoid about it. But sometimes you are actually your own culprit. What you did is that you told everybody your business, and now you're mad because they're telling it. I mean, it's just so important that you learn the skill. I'm saying it's a skill because we develop it. We develop it. We learn it. We have it modeled, and then we model it. That you learn the skill of maintaining a relationship, of establishing a relationship because relationships and friends get access. Now, you say, well, all right, Bishop, let's see what the Bible says about that. All right, let's see what the Bible says about that. Let's see actually what Jesus said about it in John chapter 15. John chapter 15 and verse 13. John chapter 15 and verse 13. Here's what it says. Greater love hath no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. Now listen here. I'm not talking about death here. I'm not talking about you dying for anybody necessarily. But notice what Jesus says. He says that you lay down your life, that you literally make a commitment, that friends are not frivolous, that you literally lay down life, that commitment is put on the table when there's a friendship. I think it's very important that you look at it this way. I'm not talking about your social media friends. I ain't talking about your followers, your fans, all the people that follow you and all of the things that you put out there in order to get folks' attention so that they can follow you. I ain't talking about that. I'm not, because folk on social media, don't let those numbers fool you. I'm blessed to have a lot of numbers. A lot of people follow me from all over the world. I hope to give out positive, constructive, redemptive information to people. I don't play around on social media with a lot of foolishness. But the point is this, is that you got to know everybody that's in that number is not your friend. You don't have that many friends, not real friends. You know, a real friend, and I don't mean a frivolous friendship. You know, a real friend is a friend that is a friend when it's convenient and a friend when it's not convenient. A real friend is consistent in your face and also consistent behind your back. It's not a person who keeps running to you talking about, ooh, I had to defend you today. Oh, they was talking about you today. And so and so and so and so. Well, I'm not so concerned about what other people had to say about me if you're my friend. I am more concerned about what you said when you heard what you say you heard. I'm more concerned about what did you say to them if you are my friend. I know I got folks that don't like me. I know that I've got people that don't care, don't have my best interest at heart. But if you are my friend, what I'd like to know is, what did you say? What did you say? Because friends are authentic. Friends are honest. Friends are not phony. That's why, well, listen here. You got to make decisions about friends. You cannot allow friends to come into your life that you are not vetting. You can't do that, because when you give access and proximity, and see here again, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about cordiality. I'm not talking about being nice to people. I'm not talking about having conversations with folks. I'm not talking about you isolating yourselves. I'm talking about you knowing a friend from an associate, or a friend from a coworker, or a friend from even a neighbor, or a friend from somebody that you just happen to run into on a regular basis. There is a difference. Jesus says, John 15 and 13, he says, greater love hath no man than this, than to lay down his life. You got to assess the mutuality of how this friendship rolls between you and that particular person. Where is the depth of loyalty? Does that friend literally have your back? Do you have that person's back? Then we can talk about real friendship. Oh, we're talking about people being real and authentic. And I'm not just talking about we have a good time. You can go to a comedy show and have a good time. You need people in your life that have your best interest at heart. And here's another thing. Oh my God. If in your life there are people who you are regarding as friends, and yet there is jealousy and envy there, you better watch a relationship like that. That kind of a relationship does not have much of a future. Friends are really happy for you. Friends are really people who regard you well. They are people who push you forward because they've got an agenda for their life too. They're trying to get some things done in their life as well. It's not what you got that's keeping me from getting what I want. It's important that you have friends, and when you have friends, you've got somebody that really sincerely, honestly cares about you, cares about the plans that God has for you, cares about the future that God has prepared for you. They don't have to have what you have. They don't have to do what you do. They just want you to be the best you that you can be. Friendship. They are people who accept you as you are, but seek for you to always be your best. That's a real friend. Accepting you as you are, but always looking for you to be at your best. I want you to be the best you can be. And I'm not trying to get you to be. Stop expecting you in other people. Oh, I better say that again. Somebody better type it in real quick. Stop expecting you in other people. Stop thinking that everybody, if they're your friend, has to be like you. They have to hang like you hang. They have to part their hair on the same side of the head as you do. They have to like what you like. They have to, listen, there are similarities, but there are also differences. And we have to celebrate sometimes our differences with one another if we are really friends. We're not just talking about being clones. We're talking about being friends. Friends have a way of complementing one another. They may have some similar interests. They may like some of the same things, but they realize, celebrate, and honor their uniqueness. Their unique gifts with one another are always celebrated. I can have a friend who can do something that I can't do. Maybe they're great at sports. I'm getting a little old for that. So maybe they're great in sports, or maybe they have sport knowledge that I don't have. Maybe they want to watch sports, and maybe I'm not into it that much. Whatever it is, the point is that there is honor, there is respect, there is dignity, there is best interest at heart, there is I got your back, there is a sense of loyalty. These are ideals in the world that really are fading in so many ways. You get access. I'm in John chapter 15, verse 14. You are my friends. You do what I command you to do, Jesus says. Henceforth, I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. Now listen, y'all. If God calls us friends, he says, I've called you friends, for the things I have heard of my Father, I have made known to you. Friends have access and friends share. Wow. Understand this. You are the gatekeeper of your life. You are the one that let people in, and you're the one that lets people out. Be very careful about that. Be very careful how you give access to people. Again, God told us to love one another. Greater love hath no man than this. God told us to love. He did not say to us that everybody has equal access in our lives. Don't get love twisted. Because one of the basic things I say about the Bible is I see love all the way through the Bible. I don't see like. I don't see like. I don't see him telling us that we're supposed to like our neighbor as ourselves. I see him saying that we ought to love our neighbor. That's in a spiritual Christian context. We're to love. And even those that we love don't get access necessarily. Don't be foolish. Don't find yourself feeling that because you have some sense of a cordial relationship with somebody, that everybody is entitled to full access to your life. It's important that you understand that you're the gatekeeper and that you regulate that. All right. Friends get access. Friends, number 2, receive acceptance. Friends receive acceptance. A true friend is with you when you're right, and a true friend is with you when you're wrong, trying to help you get right. A true friend speaks to you right. A true friend can be a comforter and a confronter. A true friend can be someone who knows the time to be soft and comforting and kind and sweet, and knows the other time where they got to get right up in your face, eyeball to eyeball, nose to nose, and toe to toe, and have to tell you what thus saith the Lord. I mean, that's a real friend. A real friend is someone who you have given permission, that the relationship is so healthy and so strong. There is such a sense of reciprocity in the relationship, such a sense of honor and loyalty in the relationship, such a sense of fidelity in the relationship that you accept from them what you would not accept from others. You wouldn't accept that chiding from just anybody, any Tom, Dick, and Harry that walk down the street, or somebody that you just know because you happen to go to the same beauty shop or the same grocery store, or you're in the same club with somebody. Your friends, I mean real friends now, are different from that. Real friends say, I accept you. I embrace you without being blind to your faults. They embrace you in spite of. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. Stop expecting you in other people. Stop expecting other people to act like you act. Stop wanting people to be what you are. Start wanting people, if you're a real friend, start wanting people to be the very best that they can be with what God has done in their lives. That's the difference that has to take place. Acceptance is the ability to see that others have a right to be their own person. It's the understanding that others have a right to their own feelings, their thoughts, and to their opinions. When you accept people as they are, you let go of your desire to change them. When you accept people as they are, you let go of your desire to change them. You begin to assess them for who they really are. Well, listen, I know I got to close this thing, but I got one more point to give you. Friends get access. Friends receive acceptance. Here's the last point. Friends accept accountability. friends accept accountability. You know, Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron. And so it is that one person sharpens another. Accountability is something that's not really, it's fading away in all areas, whether that's, listen, we're seeing that in government, especially in Washington. We're seeing that everywhere you go. We're seeing that in workforce situations. We're seeing it on the job. You're seeing it at the school. You're seeing it in the community. You've seen it in the church. You've seen lack of accountability destroy strong institutions, destroy strong confidence, destroy strong relationships. It's so important that you accept accountability. Here's what I like. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. I'm closing here, but I want you to get this. If a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of meekness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Accountability helps us to sharpen one another. We learn how to restore one another because we know we're going to need restoration. And so it's important for us to be in a mode of accountability. Here's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 11. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 11. Here's what it says. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. I want to say to somebody tonight, I want you to understand that you need to learn how to build others up instead of tearing others down. If we had greater relationships, if we had better friendships, if we understood this initial entry point and this particular plank in relationships, if we could just have more productive friendships and more real friendships and more healthy friendships and relationships, our world would be a better place. God works with us on those that we work with. Listen, no one is an island and no one stands alone. We have to understand that God has called us into this world that we might be in a position to help one another, to strengthen one another, to hold one another up. We got to build each other up, y'all. We're in a day and in a time where if we don't take time to build healthy relationships and to build each other up, we won't have anything to lean on or depend on when something goes wrong. Who are you going to depend on? We're going to depend on God. That's the first thing. Because in Him we live, and in Him we move, and in Him we have our being. We're going to depend on God, and then God requires of us that we might be able to work with one another. How can you say that you love God and you hate your brother who you see every day? How can you do that? No, you can't do that. There is no way. Well, I don't know. I'm only accountable to God. I don't have to please nobody but God. I'm not talking about you being a pleaser. I'm talking about you being accountable. Friendship is how we learn accountability. Friendship is how we learn acceptance. Friendship is how we understand access. And I want somebody out there tonight to know and to understand. And listen, I hope that you're responding tonight. I didn't ask for a whole lot of it because I really wanted you to listen tonight. I want you to know. And first of all, God has said right here in John 15, I don't call you servants anymore. I call you friends. I am a friend of God. Now, that's what I'm happy to tell somebody tonight, and that's what I encourage all of you out there. I am and you are and I am. We are friends of God. We're His friend. He established with us this initial entry point of relationship, and that is he's our friend. And if God is my friend, I ought to have something in common with somebody, and I need to be able to model relationship with others. God's your friend. He's the one who has proven himself to be worthy. You know what? When I pray, I can talk to him and tell him about it, and he won't tell anybody. He understands the principles of friendship. And I want you tonight to know that greater love hath no person than this, than to lay down their lives for a friend. God says, I don't call you servants anymore. I call you friends. Well, maybe tonight you've had the opportunity to think about this thing called friendship. I've just been dealing with, everyday practical living situations. I could sit here and preach a sermon. I could sit here and talk to you about something that would maybe get you highly emotional. I really want to talk to you sometimes about things that will really make you think. Someone out there, you've needed a friend that you could depend on. You've needed a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. You've needed a friend that you could tell your secrets to and wouldn't tell anybody. You've needed a friend that has your back, that'll be there when you need him. I recommend Jesus to you. I recommend Jesus to you. I recommend him because he's that kind of friend. He'll walk right beside you. He'll always be there to guide you. He's that kind of a friend. If you want to accept him as your Savior tonight, you want to be a part of this Ebenezer Church family, just type your name in or email your name in secondebenezer.org, and we'll be in touch with you. I'll call you personally. Well, listen, I want you to know that you have that opportunity. If you want to join Second Ebenezer, just text join SEC. Text join SEC to 94,000, 94000. Join SEC 94000. You do that, we'll have your name, you give us your information, and we'll make sure that you are accommodated. Well, listen, I need you right now to support this ministry. This is a great opportunity for you to give. The Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom. Listen, we've got 7 ways of giving: Cash App, PayPal, Tithely, Givelify, or you know what? You can just send it right here to the church, Second Ebenezer Church, EBENEZER, 14601 DeQuinder Road. That's DEQUINDRE, DeQuinder Road, Detroit, Michigan, 48212. We'll so happily receive it, bless it in Jesus' name, and use it for the work of the ministry. This is not just a ministry to the camera. It is a ministry far beyond the camera. Thank God for you today. I thank you for this Wednesday in the Word. I hope you're being blessed. I wanted to take a little time just to literally teach about forgiveness, about relationships, about these kinds of things that are so important and central to what God would have us to do. Well, I thank you that you've been here with me on this wonderful Wednesday night, September the 9th. Thank God for you. But I want you to join us on Sunday morning. I get a chance to bring the word of the Lord to you, 8 o'clock and 10 a.m. is always our times. Facebook Live, YouTube, please subscribe there on our mobile app, if you will. We'll look forward to you sharing there or either on our website. Well, listen, Next Wednesday, I'll be moving into another area in relationships, and I want you to be right there with us as we share. It's going to be wonderful, and we're going to look forward to what the Lord is going to do. A lot of other good news we're going to be sharing with you throughout the month of September, so you stay tuned to us. And I know that God's going to do exceeding abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think. Until then, this is Bishop Edgar L. Van, the Second Ebenezer Church, and this is Second Ebenezer Everywhere.